You know what? I'm in front of a computer. I might as well talk to it. Hello? Anyway, next feature, we got 3 clowns are gonna come out. These 3 clowns actually are my father's. Yeah, my dad. I have 3 dads, and they're all clowns. Their names are. It's really embarrassing. Their names are Gary, and Gary. I haven't talked to them in years. The thing is, one of them's fine, the other one's kind of just not. It's not a good guy. And the thing is, they come up on my phone, and guess what? I don't know which fucking Gary it is. You could argue I could name one of the Garys, like Gary, parentheses, bad. The bad one. But then I thought that was, it's too harsh. I didn't want to do that. I try to be a nice person, even if I don't like one of my clown dads. So I don't know if they're gonna show up here all stuffed in one tiny car. I mean, it's only 3 of them, so it wouldn't be that amazing to have 3 people in a car. But maybe they'll bring clown friends. See, it's funny because like clowns, they have to practice, fitting in the clown car. So that's just how they commute to their day jobs, like every day. You're just zipping down the highway. Fucking feet sticking out of the trunk and all that, well, at first, but then when you get good at it, your feet don't stick out. There's an art to being a clown. This is what I learned from my 3 clown fathers. By the way, they're not homosexual men. They manifested me using their mental powers. They're not even real. It sucks. Have I never mentioned this? Like, I really feel like this wouldn't come up. It's always the first thing I mention on a date. 3 clowns with magical powers are actually hallucinating me and I'm not real. Well, anyway, so this is going to be just a normal, just like a typical episode of like anything else you've ever heard or seen. It's really not any different. I mean, everything's exactly the same. Kanye West said this, and unfortunately, probably maybe the only thing he said that's like even remotely a real thing at all. Everything in the world is exactly the same. By the way, Kanye, Dark Twisted Fantasy, Yeezus, these are excellent albums. There's just no denying this, as well as Graduation, which I never listened to. So what the fuck happened to that guy? I guess you could just say mental illness, but it's sort of interesting to like live in a culture that values, success, like a Kanye level of success, when it's again and again so clearly demonstrated that like that doesn't necessarily benefit the person who achieves it. In fact, in some cases, it might kind of like make their life even worse in a lot of really manifestly obvious ways. I recently became aware of Crip Mac. I now know of Crip Mac, and I can never not know of Crip Mac. Crip Mac is a mentally ill, schizophrenic gangbanger from Los Angeles, 55th Street Crips. He's keeping it 55th Street. It's one of 3 things he says over and over again. He's a child in the body of a grown man. He's a really good demonstration of someone who, like, if things were a little bit different, like if 1 or 2 things were different, like he could be someone who's like, could do something really great. Whether it's, he could like make something. Because he seems to have some kind, there seems to be like a good quality in him. But he's just like so mentally not there at all that like he just can't. Because I had the thought, I think the reason I'm like interested in those types of people is that I just want to figure out what that like inner world is like. But then I had the thought of, like if I could be Crip Mac, I wouldn't ever want to be Crip Mac. But let's say I could be Crip Mac for 1 hour. If it's a Freaky Friday type of body switch, then I guess it would be my consciousness like going into Crip Mac's brain. So now I have all of the memories of Crip Mac, none of the memories I had before. Assuming that memory is stored entirely in the brain. And so then I thought, it's kind of meaningless to say, oh, I'll become someone else. Because if all of your memories of who you actually are wiped, then what actually changes? Nothing. It's just exactly what's happening right now. Because really what would be happening if I became Crip Mac is when I return to my body, what if I forget it? What if I forget it when I come back to my body? Then what would be the what would have changed? There's nothing actually happening there. So what does it mean to be anybody? I'm just keeping it 55th Street. Crip Mac is now in prison. He returned to prison because he was a felon in possession of a gun, even though he's a non-violent offender. Which is like, you know, fair enough. But I mean, he's a paranoid schizophrenic with a gun. But he's also like being hunted by like gang members at all times. So that's an insane situation to be in. That's like a living nightmare. But at the same time, he's just like going on Skid Row and just like giving food to people and like hanging out with the junkies. I don't know enough about Crip Mac. I think I know enough. I unfortunately did come across the sex tape of Crip Mac, and I'm not the same. I'm just not the same person after that. So yeah, I don't know. Justice for Crip Mac? I don't know. I don't know if that's the correct stance. I think the correct stance is what it usually is in all these cases, which is like he should obviously just be in a mental health facility. I think if he actually was treated in some way, like he could actually be like a really functional person. This next segment is called a helicopter segment. Working title. We get a break for the helicopter. It's a good reminder to, you know, give big ups to helicopters for everything they do. If you have an organ that needs transplanting, helicopter, that's probably your best bet. Other possible methods, you can just send like a newsie on a bicycle, like a brown paper bag, just hope for the best. That's definitely the cheapest option. Or maybe like for like a really low price, you can just throw it up in the wind and hope it ends up in its destination. It would be cool if you could do that. If there were just like miniature tornadoes everywhere and you could just throw shit in and be like, I don't want this anymore. And it's just like, it goes away. It goes so far away, it really doesn't matter. It's like a fucking sky vacuum. It's perfect. Once it's beyond the firmament, it's somebody else's problem. So yeah, in other news, there was fake weather. They literally did fake weather. This is the first time this has ever happened. In the forecast, they said there was going to be a nor'easter. And they also said there's not going to be any accumulation or precipitation at all. There's not going to be any snow. But a nor'easter is coming. They literally said this. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't understand. What am I to do with this information? So in other words, you're saying it's going to be cloudy for a few hours. And that's exactly what happened. It wasn't like a revision. It wasn't like they were like, storm of the century. Oh, update. Flurries. They're saying this is going to be, well, not storm of the century. It's going to be a storm. But it's not going to have any of the features you would associate with a storm, such as fucking anything happening at all. It's a new type of storm where nothing happens. And speaking of, you know, I think our dark meteorologist that we had on, yeah, he died. He died of weather. Something weather related happened to him. That's all that I was told. So yeah, I guess RIP to him. That sucks. But we get another dark meteorologist to replace him. This dark meteorologist, his name is Dirk Diggleson. He's new to the team, and he's out there in the field. He's in a field. He's just looking up at the sky and just telling us what he sees. What do you see up there today, my friend?
I see skulls. I see shapes of skulls up there.
That's not like a typical thing that you should be seeing in the sky. Like, is this like a Harry Potter thing? Wasn't this in the Goblet of Fire?
I didn't read that one.
But it was definitely in Goblet. I'm saying it as a fact.
Okay, well, you were phrasing it as a question, so I didn't
Like, I'm sorry, okay. I will be more clear. That was in fucking Harry Potter, okay? Like, I'm sorry, Dirk Diggleson. You're an icon, you're a legend. You're one of the darkest meteorologists around. You're the most fucking diabolical weatherman there is. They're saying it at the Weather Channel. I heard you got banned from there, is that right?
Yeah, they sent men to my house.
Just because you like cheer for like tornadoes and natural weather disasters that kill millions of people because you're a fucking sick weirdo. So what happens on a sunny day? Are you just sitting inside, like, what do you just watch, like, videos of rain or something? Or, like, something to, like, make a cat fall asleep? Fucking freak.
I am not to be spoken to in this tone of voice of yours.
Dude, why don't you go get your car stuck in a fucking ice storm or something? See how you like that. Ice Storm 98, you know what? I survived that. I was there. You weren't there. You'd have a different thought about bad weather if you had lived through that week. Maybe you just like chaos. Maybe you just like destruction.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty upfront about that.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I've heard enough of that. So what? You saw skulls? What, okay. So that's it. That's all that you have.
Yeah, that and go Lakers.
What? He hung up. I really gotta start rethinking like the types of people I associate with. But we have to remember to keep it 55th Street as well. As he would also say, never commit suicide. It really just cuts to the chase. It's basically like if a child came up with a slogan for like anti-suicide, just like, don't do it. Hey, if you think about doing it, how about don't? I'm not suicidal at all, so I don't really have that much to say about it. It's alarming how many people are, though, I guess. There's obviously this like crisis of meaning thing going on. And it seems to me that at some point the religious view fell out of favor. And I think there's probably a direct correlation. But it's just hard to quantify what it means, though. Like, for there to be what does it mean if there's a crisis of meaning? Like, there are some ways you could, like, depression, I guess. But that could be something else. I mean, that could be, like, environmental. Like, it could be diets, or, like, it could be anything, really. It could be, like, a gastrobiological answer, for all we know. But the reason I think it's probably connected is because the nihilistic philosophy is kind of manifesting in a real way. But obviously nihilism would have to be like filling a gap, because it's just a philosophy. It's all philosophy, pretty much. Like, I think of a religious view as being just like one type of philosophy. And I would say that nihilism is like it's like a pit stop to the truth. I think you kind of like become disillusioned with the idea that you're going to find meaning in like stuff. It's kind of like a big game. It's not really like real life. And most people kind of just get a general sense of that, but they don't really know what to do with it. But I think what happened was that there was, in America at least, there was the post-war boom after World War II. Weird theory is that, capitalism kind of ended up becoming like a new god. Nobody would ever admit that that's what happened. But if you look around you, there's kind of a lot of evidence that that's basically what happened. But now that like the effects of that are trailing off, you kind of took out the god part of it, and then you took out the thing you were replacing God with. So what is actually left for anybody? And I don't even mean like a god. I just mean like some kind of connection to something that's beyond you and your own world. Something that like ties it together to everything else. If you don't feel that, then, you end up contributing to the fragmentation, and you just kind of keep playing into it, and it just keeps going. You gotta do what you gotta do in your own little sphere of influence. Also, just a side note, I'm just really grateful for the fact that I chose to record this on the night where there's just inexplicable drilling noises coming from some undefinable point in space, and also just kind of a continuous helicopter noise. I should record this like somewhere quieter next time, like inside of like a whale's stomach, so that we could better capture the mellifluous tones of none other than Slurp Von Lipstick, who always knows what time it is. I never know what time it is. I don't own a watch. I never learned how to read a clock. I never learned how to read a digital clock. I never learned numbers. I got letters. They do me just fine. I'm getting by with the old alphabet. Old reliable. Who needs to count? Who cares how much shit there is? It's enough. Whatever it is, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm going to introduce to you the man who just last week applied to be an intern for Time magazine. And I said, I didn't know you had a background in journalism. And he said, no, it's not journalism, it's just a magazine about time. And I said, no, that's a magazine about, it's like news. And it turns out he was at the dentist office and he had seen a Time magazine there on the rack. And there was a picture of a clock on the front because the story was something about like senators trying to like undo daylight savings time like they do every fucking year. And so when he told me that detail, I thought, okay, you know what? I actually kind of understand, like, if you had never read Time magazine, it actually makes sense that you would maybe have that impression. So that's the only thing he said to me that's not more dumb than the thing he said to me previously. Everything he's ever said to my face is dumber than the thing before. It's gotten progressively worse. He also broke into my house one time when he was really mad at me. By the way, I've never said this publicly. He broke into my home and he fucked up all my clocks. He set them to random ass times. He took my phone, he fucked up my alarm, and I was late for work. And I said, for someone who honors and respects time, you think he'd also value, a person's right to know the correct time. Considering your profession, your whole goal is letting people know what the fucking correct time is. And you do this, I will allow Slurp Von Lipstick to come out here and say his piece and represent himself. And also tell us what time it is. Alright, I give it up. Yes, thank you, thank you, that is really generous. That is so generous of you, thank you so much for clapping so much. Thank you. Thank you. Are they still clap? I can't hear. Thanks. Yeah, I was at a concert last night, so I can't hear anything. Thank you for clapping. I'm assuming they're still clapping. I'm being told they aren't clapping? Okay. I still feel like I can hear it, though. Thank you so much. Wow. So yeah, I did break into his house and I did fuck up his clocks. I've openly admitted to this. I fucking live streamed it. And I realize this jeopardizes, like, my internship prospects with my beloved Time magazine, which is definitely a magazine about clocks and time and all that kind of stuff. But here's why I did what I did. Here's why I broke into our friend's home and I confused him. He's too passive about time. I'm trying to teach him a lesson about time. Now he knows. I'm basically the angel and we're doing an It's a Wonderful Life. Except instead of him dying, his clocks died. All of his clocks died. Because he didn't love them. He didn't honor and respect and love clocks and what they do for us. In fact, I'm motivated to look at one right. I think that's all I had in terms of my legal defense angle. Yeah, I'm Slurp Von Lipstick. I do whatever the fuck I want, dude. I swallow gum, motherfucker. Alright, so the current time, it's 11:36 p.m. You guys know about this planet's day-night cycle, right? Yeah, if you've been around on this planet for a little bit, you probably know about that whole, like, sun go down, moon come up, that kind of, it's classic Earth shit, We can all relate to this. This is what people want. They're like, yes, talk about day, talk about night, talk about how they're different. If you want to know more about me, you can email me at slurpitup@time.gov. That's right, I'm still using that old government address. Used to be head of the Department of Clocks. And, you know, they said, we're defunding time. People have it on their phone now. We don't need to give it to them. And I said, no, I want to keep time.gov going. And so I'm running it off my own home server. If you go to time.gov, there's now a little banner that says, like, a slurp production. Yeah, but yeah, I have nothing else. I have nothing else left to say to you. I gave you the time. I gave you what you came here for. This is all anybody wants of me. People just treat me like shit. They just come up to me. They say, hey, what time is it? People who don't even know my profession. And I'm like, excuse me? You're asking me to tell you what time it is? Do you have any idea who I am? Do you have any idea what that goes for these days? Like, people have absolutely no respect for what I do or anything I do. Well, thanks for coming out, everybody. Right, why are you clapping for him? What could he have possibly said just now that was worthy of praise? In isolation, anything he said sounds like the ramblings of a madman. In context, it still sounds like the ramblings of a madman. But I'll tell you one thing, he got the time right. I'm fully happy with that, and I'm fully okay with everything that happened. I guess that I'll see you at the movies.